Manhood, brought to you by Jameson, natural sources since 1922, and Racetrack.
So thank you for joining us for yet another conversation about manhood. And remember, we are not speaking on behalf of all men. We are a few men speaking to all men. And by the definition of man is not bravado and that you like sports and that you're a particular manly man. It's simply that you have values that we want to shine and be bright and be men. To be recognized and as men. So my panel today, the guys, I know everybody's really excited about today's topic, and I have a definition that I always like to start off with, but let me do the introductions. Johanse Ayodike, Behavior Change Consultant, Valmiki Ramlagan, radio personality, a good friend, and Niall McNish himself, media personality, director of social, there's a whole gamut of things that Niall is, and he's particularly excited about talking about today's topic. Today's topic is, as much as we are starting off in a very buoyant and a mood of smiles, it's a very serious one. A topic that tends to lead to all sorts of violence, death, heartbreak. Why do men cheat? Why do people cheat? So let me start off with the definition that I found. But before I start off the definition, it'd be really good to recognize our brothers, Racetrack, for sponsoring this set.
Of course.
And a sponsorship of Manhood, as well as Jameson, keeping us healthy. So thank you, Jameson and Racetrack. Definition: when women cheat, there's usually an element of romance, intimacy, connection, or love. Men, on the other hand, are more likely to cheat to satisfy sexual urges with fewer thoughts of intimacy. No surprises there. Of course, many men cheat because they feel love as well as sexual attraction for an outside partner, but more don't. For them, infidelity can be an opportunistic, primarily sexual action that in their minds does not affect their primary relationship. In fact, when asked, many such men will report that they're very happy in their primary relationship, that they love their significant other, that their sex life is great, and that despite their cheating, they have no intention of ending their primary relationship. So we're discussing why do men cheat, but we're also going to be discussing why do women cheat? Why do we cheat? And I wouldn't say that we've all done it, but I'm sure sitting down here, in some form or fashion, and we'll find out the definition because we speak specifically in this context about physical. But as we're seeing now with the advent of social media, it's across a broader spectrum. But I read the definition. Thoughts?
Well, firstly, you were speaking about the research that was done, right? And we know all women and all men in the world wasn't interviewed, right? So it's from a catchment of people based on culture, etc. So I'm setting that premise first.
Very important to know that. When we talk about surveys, it could be 6 people in 1,000, sure. if you're lucky. So I just want to present that.
Right, so I will go from the information put from actual conversations, right, with people. So we're going on our general first, why people cheat. Most times in terms of the responses I've gotten is that they are missing something from the relationship.
Okay.
Right? So even if it is expressed physically in terms of sex, right, sometimes it's because of excitement, so sex brings the excitement. Sometimes sex brings intimacy, right? Sometimes sex brings a feeling of being cared for. Sometimes sex is even an outlet to vent that maybe they didn't have. Sometimes even sex brings the variety because maybe the person they're with have a certain format that they only want things a certain way.
Yeah.
Right? And
Dead fish.
And the sex brings that. So I given one angle because there are a few other reasons, but I'll give one angle first of they're missing something from the relationship and we can explore that.
Okay. So there's a lot, guys, that I want to cover in this particular episode, this conversation, one, of course, we've recognized is across both genders, male and female, sex is a big part of it, right? Sex is really where you really hit the ego. Because let's face it, a woman cheats on a man, and all you're thinking is, how that man did it.
Yeah.
You understand? You haven't even gone down to the part, or you haven't even reached the area of why the woman cheated, Mm-hmm. What is going through your mind at that point is what happened.
Well,
you want, but you don't want details.
The one question, the first thing is men ask is, was he bigger than me?
Well,
That's like the main thing that,
right.
Did you have an orgasm with him? But to go back to what you're saying about sex, I feel like everything in the world is about sex except sex. Sex is about power, right? And a lot of the time what I realize, especially for men, and the reason why men cheat is that they start to feel powerless in their actual relationship. Even if the woman could be the most doting wife or the most caring person in their life, something that she might be doing, not giving him that feeling of I am a man anymore now. And usually, if you notice, most men date or cheat down while most women cheat up. And what I mean by that is that most men will cheat below their status in life. It will never be somebody sweeter than a girl.
So a woman not cheating for no $200 date.
Basically, she not
that,
gonna risk a relationship for that.
Right.
But a man just might.
No, but if she's accustomed to $150 dates, she might.
There you go.
Well, right, so she going
I
up.
mean, if I had to put in my 2 cents, I would say, we're talking about humans on the whole, but men, we cheat because we can. That's the way I see it. Everything leads up to that one factor. There's a sense of mortality we feel. We know time is of the essence. So even if we're real happy with somebody, but you go to a party like with the boys and be real drinking and you get a wink in the corner, and all of a sudden you get more second winks. Next thing you know, her friend comes, I want your phone number. It's not even just validation, but it's because we can. And that is where you have to separate that reality from narcissism, right? Because it applies to both men and women.
But when you say we can, Val, let's do a deeper dive into that. When you say we can, because women can.
Okay, I suppose usually walk over, right, to cross the highway. But I can cross the actual highway, run across. It doesn't matter right or wrong anymore. And because you're pressing with time, as a mortal individual, with time is of the essence, again, you can be real happy. And then the whole concept of cheating, so we may have to divide it because the preconceived notion that cheating a long time was sex. But now some people feel a worse horn when they find somebody else to confide in and they're talking about you with them. You understand? So it have different levels.
Well, this is what we started off by saying that, now it's more, as you said, before the advent of social media, it was physical.
Yeah.
But now there's cheating with regards to the first time. From the time someone sends you a message and you're looking for, we have this like culture, you want to get as many likes. And a man or a woman sends you, or it depends, because a woman could send to a woman and a man to a man. It was actually another study that I will talk about later. You get that like, and then you send, or they might send you a message looking good or a smiley face, and then you respond, and then you feel good about it. The next thing you know, there's a private message. From the time you engage in a thought, based on this study and based on, just having a discussion, I'm sure we could relate to our own feelings. That's cheating. You're now confiding, or you're open to exploring something further. People say, well, it's just window shopping, and as long as I don't go in and purchase anything, that's okay. No, from the time the thought is there, it is now considered a form of cheating. You're open to it, and it's just a matter of time and place. And the predator at that point, men are predators, women are predators. We're not differentiating here, even though we're talking about why men cheat. We just sort of, all kind of moving all around.
But can we settle? Has everyone here cheated before?
At cards? What are we talking about?
Yeah, let's be honest.
Yes, I have.
I have cheated,
Yes.
and I've been cheated on, and
I have been cheated on as well.
And
Yes.
I can say that the feeling the feeling of being cheated on, which is another discussion that you know, I was looking at, I think it was Steve Harvey, and they say men cheat, but women do it better.
By far.
They know how to do it better. And a lot of times, I don't know if they have a better way of cheating or they're smarter at it. I think what it is men are so caught up in ego that you think to yourself, that can't happen to me. They wouldn't cheat on me because you think that you are the boss. And when it happens, it hits you such a gut punch that sometimes you can't even, it's like
breathe.
you can't breathe. So you might have done it 20 times, but that woman do it one time.
But I actually think that women, it's not that they could do it better, it's that women have more respect for their men than men have for women while cheating.
No, but what I'm saying to you is
That's why they don't get caught.
it's not a matter of they're better.
For their men.
I don't.
No, I think that's the opposite.
You're now opening up the conversation
Yeah,
here.
yeah, more
The
respect.
conversation.
No, Niall said something, Val said something. So I'm going to go around because I don't want to miss somebody.
Right,
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So we're coming back to the respect. Respect every woman, respect the men more while cheating. So before, Niall said that sex is about power, right? And I disagree with you because everybody have a different reason why they have sex. Right? And they have a different reason on a different day. So Monday, you have sex with your girlfriend or your wife for a specific reason. Tuesday could be something different. And I'm using it in that sense because if we just go, okay, human behavior is thought, feeling, action. Whatever going on here, thoughts create a feeling and create action. And that may be something different at a different time. So even when he's talking about Steve Harvey making his blanket statements about men, or his blanket statement about women, I disagree with. Even thinking most men, because again, it's very situational, and I'm glad we're talking about it. So, yes, we could form some kind of precedence, but we're still very situational because even when you're saying to cross the highway, right, it's different reasons. Sometimes it could be because of time, sometimes it could be because of inefficiency, sometimes it could be because of excitement.
Correct.
It could be a different reason why you want to run across the highway versus take it. So we go in with situational. So sometimes it's about power, so I'm agreeing with you there.
Okay.
Right? Val, what you were saying before, and I'm losing some of these points, you know.
That's
Yeah,
right.
sense
That's
of
right.
mortality,
You want to
like,
use
you know,
my-
we cheat because we can.
Right,
We
mortality, right? Yes or no, and I wanted to address that because some men who was telling me, well, it was in front of me,
Yeah.
so take it, right? That a lot of times the stem of that, and which this is our main point in say 70%, maybe 80% of men that I spoke to that I know that cheated is because of low self-esteem. And let me explain that, right? Because if you say, well, once it's in front of me, I will take it. I'll then ask, how you rate yourself? And most men, either 9 out of 10, some men say either 20 out of 10. So I say then, why then you'll go to a woman who's a 2 out of 10 if it just presented in front of you? And most times it's because of low self-esteem and or coming from scarcity, meaning that I can't get no more. I have my wife, I have my girlfriend, and maybe I can't get no more, so wherever I get in, I'm taking it. And I'm putting that up front because that low self-esteem is one of the major factors. Then somebody said about respect. Right, that women respect their men more. I disagree now again. I didn't speak to all the women in the world, so I'm not
I know you're
speaking
not on
them,
surveys.
right? But the women that have told me that they cheated, right? Most time that respect is not necessary for their men, but for themselves. And I'll never explain because they don't want to look bad publicly. Because now I'll go with a study. Study shows that women care more about their reputation, right? On a whole, how they look to people. Actually, maybe it's humans and all, because men we have ego too. So let me not pinpoint women on, but I'm using it here. A lot of times they do it slicker because they don't want to look bad to society. They do more than a man. A man might feel bad because he don't want people to know that he was cheated on, because that would bruise his ego. Not that he cheated, right? But a woman don't want people to see them as being loose or whatever it may be the terms, the derogatory terms. So it's not necessarily that respect for the husband or the man, but that they don't want to look bad in the eyes of the public.
Well, the eyes of the public not seeing when haunting happening. So we're talking about how reflection of what you try.
Well, it depends where the horn take place, huh?
Well, agreed, but I would hope that
Yeah.
nobody, you're not doing it out in the open
Right.
and just wild,
Because
right?
sometimes a tape could
Well,
come out or
more than
or-
First of all,
sometimes.
the tapes happening. Like, that is just wireless to begin
Yeah,
with. That's
so-
supposed to be happening. But point is, the effort that I've seen that women take to ensure that they don't get caught right? It's always come from a point where this man can't take this if it is he find out about it. He cannot take it.
Yeah.
And why I call that respect versus it could be fear?
I agree, but fear is still a form of respect, you know. At the end of the day, you can fear your leaders. You still have manners.
But you're not necessarily saying that you fear that he can't take it, because there are those that you say, listen, if he finds out, he may get violent. But there's also the fear. There's also just that you don't want to break their heart.
Well, I know it's because they care about the person. Because prior to the cheating, this is two people in a relationship. We don't know how long. But what I want to add to it is like we could all agree and we could spend years so long here talking about why people cheat. But why I mentioned because we can is because there would be contributing factors that leads up to the action of cheating. But because we can, that's why we do it. I can't speak, again, I like surveys, but I don't put too much into it because surveys are very, finicky because it could be a different country, different culture, different demographic, a different age. I mean, it's all different kind of factors. Right. But your primal instinct from a man, all right? So let me say you're happy in a relationship. You're real happy. But subconsciously, primal instinct-wise, we always seeking to have the ideal mate. Right, we're seeking to have the ideal mate. That has gotten lost.
I thought you said meat there. I was just like, okay,
Right. That has gotten lost over time because
sure.
we want different reasons for a relationship, or we believe different reasons for relationship. But regard to, see, you have a woman, she have your children, or live in the house together, everything nice. But what would make you want to go? Yes, I having good sex. I mean, that's a number one contributing factor for most men. I talk to the brethren like, boy, don't get married. If you don't want to have sex, don't get married. Yeah. Thank God for one birthday a year, right? But if you haven't beyond that, and much better than that, and you still go to a club, or you go out, or you travel to do a seminar somewhere out of the country, so you know there's no way her friends, nobody could know. But you still find yourself in a position, not that, we can't stop the opportunity coming, right? But to act on it now, this is the level we're going now. It's still, to me as a man, I think it would boil down to what you're saying about self-worth. Yes, there's a sense of validation, but we also, with the mortality I talk about, as we get older, most men, as they get older, whether they want to be in a relationship or not, in their 50s or 60s, we still want to know we're still attractive to the other sex.
Yes, you still have
we
game.
Still have game. We still have some kind of something, We could go to the beach and do this with our wife or our girlfriend, but once you do us again, look, we're good with that. But then to go beyond that now, like I said, there's many different reasons. It could be a cultural thing. See, your father treat your mother, the house you grew up in, seeing there was no respect, so you have nothing to follow back on.
Well, your value system. So are you being a man? So kind of like what Johanse mentioned about there is validity in the argument that cheating may be connected to a sense of, or multiple partners may be a contributing factor, insecurity. So because in doing that, you need that validation. And if you're confident within yourself, then two things would happen. One, you wouldn't need that validation. And two, if you found that your partner wasn't giving you what you require, you'd simply walk away.
Or say something.
Right?
And many men, and I've found this more with men than women again. I speak to all men and all women, but more men, we tend to be afraid to say what we want and to say exactly what we have a problem with and what we want in a relationship, sexually or otherwise. And because of that, again, that comes from low self-esteem because you don't believe in what you want is valid, right? Down to, hey, I don't like the eyelashes, right? But you ain't say nothing. Right? Every time you see the eyelashes, it turn you off. And then it turn you off enough time, you turn off from her. And then you meet a woman who don't have the eyelashes.
Correct.
And then, if you understand what I'm saying, instead of just saying, I don't like this or I like this.
Yeah.
Now, the person, your female counterpart, they don't have to acquiesce to your needs, right? And they could end up leaving you. But sometimes, well, I'm afraid she leave me if I say this. Again, we're going back down to the word of it.
Yeah.
So if you're able to say exactly what you want, and this person giving you, say person, okay, they listen to your needs, and they're giving you, like say 90% of what you want, or to the point where that you're satisfied, then you don't need anything else. Even if a real nice woman come,
right?
Even if you're away in Alaska, nobody will ever know anything. If you are satisfied, then and you value yourself and the relationship, which goes back to self-esteem, then you wouldn't. So I'm putting it that way to explore the reasons because none of us perfect.
Yeah.
So all of us could end up as men, even men listening to the scenario where we feel something.
So that's a real good part in this conversation to take a small break.
Yeah.
Because the other question, on the other side of that, which we'll be talking about when we come back from the break, is what happens if your partner just simply asexual or simply not, physically attracted to you again, but there's still some sort of love there. But we'll debate that, have that discussion
All right.
in a bit. So thank you for staying with us at Manhood. This conversation is starting to heat up. We're speaking about why do men cheat and why do women cheat? Why do people cheat? And we've sort of brought it into men cheat primarily because of insecurity, and women cheat, I think, because sometimes they tune out, or they themselves. There's no reason why a woman doesn't have why she cannot move from a place of ego herself. You find that we paint it with a broad brush to say that men cheat because they can and out of physical attraction, but women cheat out from an emotional place. Again, that's a survey, that's a broad brush. I don't think so. Both parties, you feel attractive, there's something lacking in your relationship. You just built that way. There are many things because as I was telling you guys at the break, I'm going to share with you now. I have heard in a documentary that I was doing based on domestic violence, when you go into communities, women actually tell you, if they don't beat me, they don't love me, right? And therefore, part of that is what they receive as love might be some sort of act of violence. So there are many different areas where people may feel certain types of emotion. And one of that could be the fact that, and then of course you have what triggers the man, because when they now go with their partner or they go with someone else, they will then express to them why they went with this particular man, which then sends a man volcano, eruption, violence ensues. Because you either want to now kill that man, you want to kill the woman, you want to, or you beat them. And so it's not as, I wouldn't even say simple as saying, when I was cheated on, it broke my heart, but it broke my ego first, because I was in shock. Like, what? This person? How? I would have never seen it coming. And I wouldn't even say the irony. The irony was, with that particular person, I'd never cheated on.
Okay.
Right? In the past, I'd cheated, so maybe it's karma. In the past, I cheated, but with that particular person, even though they thought I did, I actually never did. Because I was,
Trying to be a better person.
trying to be a better person, and I was hook, line, and sinker. But it happened. And when it happened, like I said, the ego was the first thing that was hit, asking, maybe, not the questions that you would think most men would ask, but it was more the why, because I felt I'd given everything. And then, so the second thing would have been, of course, then heartbreak, because you realize, okay, can I move past this? And so I'm saying that we really have to look at, there's no broad brush. That's basically what I'm saying. Because as I'm talking here, emotions kind of building up again.
I see it on your face,
and you're kind of going back to that space. And like, rah, type what.
As you see emotion, I'm not going to ask you a question. This might be a therapy question, right?
But I realize that I'm waiting for the therapist to jump in.
I'm not sure if to ask it because we have enough time. I don't think we have enough napkins.
Right.
For you, right?
No, don't put me as the target. Let's ask a general question to our audience.
What I'd ask, because you're saying the ego hit, and we could make a general statement when
use me as an example. It's for the betterment.
That a woman cheats on him, the ego is hit.
Right.
And I would ask the same question as what we were saying before in terms of why your ego get hit first, because that means we had some kind of insecurity there from before.
Okay.
Right? So going back to that, being secure in yourself and relationship, because I can tell you an example, 2 examples actually I've had of clients who told me that they were cheated on. One man actually came in the house and found them. And in his mind, now he was angry, right? And he was hurt. But and he said he felt secure that he did everything he could for the relationship. Right, and he felt he did everything in himself, and he said he almost certain, because of course he had to have a conversation after to find out why, but he was almost certain is nothing that he was lacking, right? And how he reacted to it, it might sound a little strange, but he opened the door and he just say calmly, pack your bags, etc., etc. The man get frightened. He said, brother, this I not vexed at you. You must just doing your thing.
Right.
Simply, and he was
I
calm
understand
about
why
it.
you did it,
He was calm about it, and then he went. I think he left, and he said, well, he expect her to leave, etc., etc. He wait outside. And when he told me that, I was like, I don't even know if I have that in me, right? And for most men, but because and he came because he was hurt and I wanted to get over the hurt, but I didn't feel any sense of insecurity. And he said, you know what, that if he could do this for one woman, he could do this for the next woman. He said he can't predict what will happen, but he was secure in himself. So I'm going on that because I started questioning, am I that secure in myself? And the answer was no, right? And at that moment, I thought about what do I need to do to reach a level of security. Now, again, I'm not saying a level of security would mean that you wouldn't feel hurt,
Yeah, of
or
course.
you wouldn't even roll on the ground and cry about it.
But you believe you will be able to deal with it in the best proper way.
Dealing with it
Yeah.
is that part.
You said something there that I want to touch on, because in the asking why do men cheat and why do women cheat is also the signs to know whether somebody cheats. And when you said there about you don't know emotionally whether, as you speak about caring or not, one of the things that they show is a woman, one of the telltale signs is when someone is emotionally now disconnected. And so if when your partner finds out, if they're very apathetic at that point, and it's just like, well, and some people put it down to survivability. They're putting their walls up. It's more to it than that. They say, the old people say there's more in the mortar than the pestle. And what you may find, I'm not saying again in all cases, this is again just a study, where it shows that certain things are removed if they become a lot more secretive. If you find that you're getting sex more, sex more or less is also a determining factor, because more could be out of guilt, right? And less means they're getting satisfied somewhere else, right? So one of the other factors was the fact that the emotion is no longer there. So they're not asking you, how was your day? What's happening with you? And if you do communicate, again, it's very apathetic, it's very surface level. And all these are some signs of the fact that it's not necessary. I don't want people out there to go on, wait now. Tick, 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 tick. And then accusations start to take
because
place.
Robert
and
said,
jealousy.
Robert said.
It's not.
All of a sudden you start to jam me more today. No, something wrong, right?
Well, what Robert's saying is incongruence, right? When you're in a relationship, you must know the energy of it. If you're invested in the relationship, let me go there. If you're emotionally present in the relationship, you must know when there's incongruence somewhere. So whether it's more sex, less sex, more of this, less of this, the person moving different, you always know.
There's no way they kissing on the lips stop. That's always a telltale sign. Telltale sign. But some of you touched on earlier about not being able to express, like, when you make just a simple comment about, well, I don't really like the eyelashes, A lot of men don't have the know-how to communicate. Now, when we do go out now, we find somebody who seems able to read us better than our partner. So it's no longer us being able to communicate, but they know how to reach us communication-wise. That's also a way to cheat. Now, this topic it has to go more beyond, because there's cheating, there's having an affair, and there are different reasons for those levels, right?
Of course.
So what I think is, as far as the cheating goes, it also, and this will be what your studies do, with your qualifications, health and mental wellness. And aging. As we get older, everybody, we want different things. From something as simple as testosterone levels dropping on a man, and you just don't care for sex no more with your wife.
Yeah.
Right? But you will go and emotionally cheat with another woman out there.
Yeah.
Or exchange numbers, or chatting all the time.
Or you might find that those testosterone levels out with someone else who gives you that vibe or that feeling, re-energizes you.
Yeah. And a lot of women too, as they get older, they're now finding themselves, a lot of women give up so much to support their family, their mate, whatever the case. And now they're going back to school, they're getting further in their job, they want to travel. So a lot of things, and it's just because of, again, men and women inability to communicate that things have changed as an individual.
I like that.
You know, and again, cheating
But
is
Val-
always a cop out too.
As you mentioned that, ironically, that was the reason I was given. When I was cheated on,
You working too much?
It was, apart from working, I was hardly ever around. I'm always
Well-
working, but also they needed to find themselves. They were still looking for themselves. So, I mean, whether it's a cop out or not, it happened. I can't stand by and go, oh, I had nothing to do with. Because again, people cheat. But the person that's cheated on must also, in certain cases, accept some sort of responsibility. What were you doing to contribute to that? Nobody's saying that you they're not responsible for their own behaviors and what
Yeah.
they've done. But you must, in hindsight, you must introspect and say, okay, well, did I deny them? So, for example, if it's on the woman's side, and the woman says, listen, I'm just not on sex anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I've reached that point, I'm asexual. And you continue to show that you might be a high performer. You may want it, but you don't want to go out. You may express, listen, I really don't want to go out there, but you constantly deny, and your boys might be talking about, I don't know, whatever they may talk about.
No, I'll agree with this. Like, there's responsibility, but there's also reality, where it's not a matter of responsibility anymore. Responsibility on the part, you got into a partnership with somebody, but the reality is sometimes it's completely out of your...
Children,
Because if you're going to be
work.
cheated on, you're going to be cheated on. Like I give example, you're working, you're career driven, right? But you're unaware, all right, yes, that you were not physically home there with her, whatnot. But at the same time, it was always okay. Again, people cheat because they can. That's what I'll go back to what I said. So if you really think all the factors we can sit down and talk about what will make somebody cheat, but it's the step to commit the action is because we can. In the most base sense.
That's another good point to take a quick break on, to regroup. A lot to take in there, on manhood. And we always say the conversation doesn't end here. The conversation must
right.
continue.
Correct.
This episode must come to an end, but the conversation doesn't.
True.
We take a quick break. So we had to take a break. I wish we could start to film some of the behind the scenes and the conversations that we have when we go to break. Something that we'll certainly look to going forward with other episodes, because so much was discussed in that short space of time. Like, can women really have guy friends? A topic.
And
Wait,
vice versa.
We're not.
Yeah.
No, that's a whole other episode. We just saying what we kind of briefly spoke about. Just like how you mentioned, a quick break is sometimes why women, go looking for their partners. That may sink in, or it may not. Might have a double entendre. So
It does.
There are many other conversations with regards to why do men cheat, why do women cheat. Like you said, could women have guy friends? When the woman says, I want to go out with my girls, and you're dressed in a certain way, and you come home late at night, and you're all smelled up and all the rest of it, you ask yourself, the why in that. And sometimes they say, well, it's for me. I want to go out and I want to feel good. It's like, well, okay, I'm not making feel good. The other thing is this proverbial shoulder to cry on. The man who's out there, the predators, might be your own brethren. We spoke about on the very first episode about being better as brothers and about manhood and about a woman going, and you ask yourself, what does that man have apart from maybe physical presence? What does that man have that you are either lacking or stopped? And that is where I want us to sort of bring this particular episode to a close in terms of having that discussion, to really leave people listening to this, apart from some of the, whether they experience it, whether they be looking at a checklist, what are you doing to either encourage it, or what are you doing that you feel that you need to cheat or you have cheated, and leave them with some sort of, that's what you're here for.
Well,
leave them with something, I don't know, some kind of,
Well,
don't do it. Don't do it.
Let me talk from a point of me being the outside man.
Right.
Right? Which I've been, right? Quite recently, actually. And what I realize is that, especially in relationships, when back to communication, no one is really say the real things that they want, especially with their wife. No, even
is what I'm
especially
saying. You got your
the
hands
sexual
charged up here.
That's what I'm
interests. You know, as we age, our tastes might change, right? And a lot of the times we fear that the taste change. We can't. I can't just say to my wife of 10, 15 years, yo, let me try. You know, she might be repulsed at that, and you might feel ashamed at that.
Wait, you see, I know I'm cutting you off.
Yeah, go ahead,
Right?
go ahead.
What I was saying before about being
Thank you
honest,
for cutting him off, because where he was going
I
to go
don't
with that,
understand. I
I
thought
thought I would
this
have
is
to.
manhood. and
Aye,
this
it
talk.
is,
I
it
feel
is,
talk.
but
Being
there's certain
honest-
amount of beeping I have to do.
being honest and being with your self-esteem to say what it is. And this is even, we're going male, female, why in relationship, and you talk
Yeah.
about communication before. Quickly, I had a couple that came in for couples counseling, right? And they were having serious issues. Well, they said serious issues, miscommunications, etc. So I told them, make a list. Put honestly what you want from this person, honestly what you want from this person. You have 5 minutes and do it, right? The first thing, the guy was like, you know what? He wanted a job every day. And he was afraid to tell his wife that, because she would think, well, that is all he want.
Right,
But
yes.
after he said it, the wife started cracking up, laughing, hysterical on the ground. And I was like, what happened? And she said, you know, I was thinking the same thing. And why didn't you just talk? And that always was significant to me, because a lot of times, even I remember a man coming for tobacco, right? He come in and tobacco when
Before you go to that point, let us just know that is an anomaly. Yeah? That you could tell your wife or significant other, I want this, especially a job every day. As Val had mentioned early on about having one birthday a year. Luck, fortunately,
Yeah, we
have a
thank God
birthday
for
a
that.
year.
Again,
Because
that
for a
could be
woman,
common misconception.
exactly,
For a woman to
I
turn
don't know
wrong.
if that is an anomaly,
okay,
right? I
That's
don't know.
common
studies have shown.
Studies have shown.
Right? So I was saying the guy came in for a banker, right? And after maybe halfway through the session, I realized it was a banker for the outside woman, right? And this man was literally on the ground crying, right? And I was like, in my mind, I was like, but is the outside woman? And then he was explaining all the things that she gave to him that he was missing from his wife. But then I was like, well, so your wife didn't want to do it? And then mostly he's like, well, I didn't tell her anything. But it's like, they didn't tell her anything. I was like, why? Because he was afraid of XYZ, how should you react, etc. And I could even relate to that. I remember in one of my relationships where I cheated, and it was because I didn't say what I want. And the other girl, she, as somebody said, anticipate. But even like I felt more comfortable with this person to say, well, I like this, I don't like this, I want this. Well, wear this now. But I didn't, and I was afraid, or maybe even wondering how the person would react if I said that.
And if she says she
Yeah.
can't give you what you've asked for, what's your predicament at that point?
Then I'd have to decide.
there's love.
Then I'd decide if I could spend the rest of my life without this,
Fair enough.
right? And
Because-
if I
yeah.
can't,
A lot of the times, though, some things that we may want, we might want to do to our wives. I feel like I might want to do some things, even though I could ask her, and she may be receptive. I still don't want to do to her, because I feel like I want my wife to be my child mother, right? And I don't want to do some vile, despicable
Yeah,
things.
you know
to
which couples
her.
can't look at porn together?
You know?
You know which couples cannot look at porn together?
I-
Because that's when your real dark side comes in, what you like and what you like.
Exactly.
And then you might
Supposed-
ask
that
the
is
question,
correct.
I
How
wonder if that's what you wanted.
No,
Yes.
I might be sounding a little utopian here because to be honest, this is something that even with my wife, that we promise each other that we'll be honest, even the dark side of things. Because if you hiding a dark side, means you're still holding something away from somebody.
Okay,
And
yeah.
if I'm able first in myself to face that dark side, right? That's a big step in the esteem who you're talking about. And then if she's able, and we could discuss it, because, and I go utopian, that's what I think a relationship should be. We talk about communication, because if you had that in you, you're supposed to bring it out.
True.
The Bible says, and some people is misconstrued, and you could argue with me, the marriage bed is undefiled. And it says that for a reason, because if you're sharing with that person, if two become one, you're not perfect. You have some nastiness in you, right? And then we could even explore the why. I like it upside down because, and that is a wonderful sharing moment. You and your wife say, I like it this way because, and you understand. And if you're secure in yourself, right, and this is what I think a couple should be
You say
building towards each
security
other,
again.
to be
That
secure
word.
with
That's
each
what it
other,
is, right?
right? Now, you could discover something you don't like, and that's something that's the danger of it, and that's where we stay away
That's
from
where
it.
it is.
That's it.
Fair.
Because
Yeah.
because in that, and I purposely cutting it there, Johansson, to say that the fear could also be with that insecurity. With that insecurity is that she may share that dark side with you, or vice versa. And then your question then might be, so that's what you did in the past? You know, like this.
That's the
No,
insecurity
no,
coming in there.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, when women, it's like the question when a man asks a woman, how many men have you been with? And women will always say that, or men will say that whatever number she tell you, multiply that by 7 or 10 or whatever. the
Well, I
case is.
heard 3,
No,
but
well,
all right.
three.
okay.
Well, 3, right?
Well, you've been
so
talking to
so, so there's that darkness to anything, but also the question of if, because you could show her a dark side, and vice versa. She can then say, because there's nothing like a male or female, both can be jealous. And you may say something that she may not be open to, but she's jealous of the fact that you may have had those experiences, be it a threesome, be it doing it a certain way, whatever the case may be. But again, this conversation, this type of conversation doesn't end. We will continue it in discussions with Manhood.
Yeah,
But
it's definitely ongoing.
this particular episode, of course, we must come to a close at some point. And I just want your thoughts on, have we accepted horning as part of our culture? We see it in the music, we see it in the conversation, people laugh and joke about it, as long as it doesn't really impact them, or it's something that may have happened years and years ago and you've sort of moved past. When you said to me about napkins, I've moved past that. And so, have we accepted horning as part of our culture? And what are some of your closing, I wouldn't even say thoughts, messages maybe, to persons that you don't leave them open to go and start accusing the other partner? Because there's one thing that I say, and this is going to be my closing, apart from wrapping up to thank our sponsors, that a therapist, when you do couples therapy, I don't believe in couples therapy. I'm just putting it out there. Because you have a conversation, you open up, and then therapist goes, okay, 45 minutes up, and you now gone, your wounds open, and you're now left to your own
Nah, you
vices.
never come by me then if you see
Well,
that. Go ahead. Go
we're
ahead.
just talking in general. I'm not talking about my specific.
Well, to answer the question, is I have accepted it. I think that cheating is just a part of life. I think that, forever is a very long time, and they must have some sort of... I understand the weaknesses that both parties may have, right? So, for me, cheating is not a big deal. The woman that I'm looking for is that if she does cheat, one, she cheats on me respectfully. She cheats on me with...
Is that no oxymoron, though? Cheat on you respectfully?
I mean...
You want to find out before your partners. Does it mean?
meaning,
Let me find out
that,
before social media.
Are you
find
speaking
out.
more of an open relationship or cheating? Because
It's
if
not-
she's cheating, or
it-
if you're okay with it, then she's not cheating.
I feel that me not knowing about it is cheating. Well,
Ignorance is bliss.
right? If it is that
Basically.
you're doing it for, you understand why you did it. You're not just being wild. You're taking my feelings into consideration. You're taking my health into consideration. You're taking my secrets into consideration, and you're making adult decisions. Because some people just do it out of wildness, and that is where. So again, it's the choice
Yeah, well,
of woman that I'm choosing.
I'll agree with you.
I'm not going to get
And
upset at every person.
As we get older, the dynamic will have to change. So I'll just quickly say this. I don't accept it as a cultural thing. I don't accept porn as a thing. What happened to you? I'd be like, every individual, every situation, every relationship is special and different. And there are different circumstances. Because you could cheat out of revenge because you get cheated on. There's cheating, there's cheated, and there's having an affair. There's different levels of what will bring all this together, right? And make people and propel you to go this way. And then also to justify it, narcissist or not. So I just believe that once, as we get older, we understand what is required of forming a union with somebody else. You want to grow old with somebody. This is not a teenager or somebody in their 20s still looking to, and only time will tell. Some breakups may have to happen. Of course, you may find the perfect person, and then there's self-sabotage because you believe, not a matter of insecurities there, but you just do believe this won't last forever. And I'll go back to the mortality. So before I die, she might lose interest in me, maybe. I have it real good now. But let me just, and then I'll just end up quickly. Human beings, this is how it is. Going back to the very primal sense, we need to feel desired, we need to feel attractive. We don't have to be told we're attractive, but we need to have some sense of, before our time is gone, that we're still, like I said, desired by the opposite sex, if that is the case is. And then that opens the door, that opens the Pandora's box. Then any little ability to follow through.
Yeah.
And it depends on one's character too. So it is no defining thing, but, it is what it is.
Johanse, take it away.
What I'm going to say is easier said than done, right? The fact that yes, I think we as a culture accept honing. That doesn't mean it's right. The fact that we're using the word cheating means that if we're going by our dictionary definition, we're violating a rule, right, in an illegal manner.
Fair enough. Okay.
Right? So,
Doing something wrong.
going back to that truth again, this is easier said than done because I myself not perfect at it. But if we're saying that we're with someone, it's best we open ourselves to them. It may take some time, it may take some help, but let the person know exactly what's going on. Even if it means, you know what, at this stage, we really can't satisfy each other anymore. Instead of going through cheating, because cheating brings heartache in some way, where there's the person cheated on the outside man, the outside woman. It creates all these dynamics, especially in the society, because we could go in a whole show about the ill effects of outside children, right? So I could go there, but what I would say is, going back to that honesty part of it. If you don't like the person anymore, and many times we're not being true to ourselves, If you break up with the person, but now after you break up, you're going to the gym now. You know you're supposed to be going to the gym anymore and taking care of yourself. All of a sudden, you go and study. When she leave, now you do the renovations on the house.
Yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying, we're not being true to ourselves.
Why you weren't doing all of that beforehand?
Exactly. So I would leave with, you see, if you have to reach point of cheating, means it's something illegal doing to the relationship. If you and a person have understanding, cool. And I'm going back to us men, and we're talking about this is manhood. Us men, we're not responsible for women behavior and how they think, but at least what we could do is be honest with our partners. Say, darling, I don't like this, I like this, I want more of this, don't wear this
You
all
look fat
the
in
time.
our dress.
Say
Yes.
exactly. With love,
Okay.
right? With love, aim is not to hurt, but you being honest and you laying it out, because if we esteem ourselves enough to say, you know what, this, I am Johanse, I am Val, these are my standards. You know that you compare and say anybody else, but these are my standards, baby, this is what I like and I don't like. You have the opportunity to take it or leave it, so I don't have to now go outside and look for something.
Okay.
Great convo, as always, guys. This is one of those things. There's not much more to be said in terms of me to wrap up this particular episode. This is something that, again, we keep saying the conversation doesn't end. We will continue having this conversation, many other areas of the conversation. And what I have understood is, once again, to the people who ask all the time, like, what do we define as a man? Well, what you heard here today gives you some of those answers, your value system. And also to both males and females, don't wait until afterwards or till it's happened or till you moved on to make that change. Make that change. If that change is a positive change that would impact the fact that in a positive way, your relationship, to avoid the cheating in the first place, then do it while you can. And as Val had mentioned, our primal needs come down to two things: to be loved and to know that you are enough. Once again, Johanse, Val, Niall, Robert, thank you so much for looking at this episode of Manhood. Why do people cheat? I hope we've answered some of the questions. I hope we've had some really, some eye-opening insight into that particular topic. We'd like to really thank our sponsors once again, Racetrack and Jameson. Until the next one.
Manhood, brought to you by Jameson, natural sources since 1922, and Racetrack.